Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Top 3 Tips for Team Collaboration. My name is Michelle and I will be your moderator today. Well, with me today, I have Liz Gillum and Christina Ritter. Christina is one of our many wonderful customer success managers here at ShareFile and enjoys working with our customers to find the best ways ShareFile and other Citrix products can help their businesses succeed. Welcome, Christina.
Hi there.
We also have Liz, and Liz joins the Citrix ShareFile team in 2015 as a Senior Program Marketing Manager. And with a passion for helping customers in the tech industry, Liz is responsible for developing programs and content to help make ShareFile easier for you to use. Welcome, Liz.
Nice to be here.
Great. Well, on our agenda today, we will review, first and foremost, how to get started as an administrator in ShareFile. Then we'll go into best practices for your team rollout, and we'll close with ShareFile's top collaboration features you and your team will love. We would really like to hear from you and would like to include your voice in our conversation today, so please ask questions and share your comments by using the question and answer panel at any time during the webinar. We do have Rebecca, Anne, and Ashley manning some questions today as well, so keep those questions coming. They'll be answered throughout the webinar as well as at the end of the webinar during our Q&A break. Additionally, we are recording today's session and we'll be sharing that recording out with everyone shortly after the conclusion of our webinar. Finally, we have a couple of handouts in the handout section for you. No need to download those now, but make sure you get those downloaded before the webinar ends. There are a couple of guides for you. And I'll also be sharing out a ShareFile link to download our slides from today as well. So sit back, relax, and focus on Liz and Christina's presentation today. All right, Liz, let's get started.
Great. Thanks so much, Michelle. We're really going to start today's webinar with just a little bit of a review of what ShareFile is. I like to start every webinar like this because I feel like use cases vary across the board. Some people use it for document storage. Some people use it for sharing sensitive or large documents. But ShareFile has a lot more potential, and today's webinar is really going to focus on how you can use it as a team collaboration platform. And Christina, if you could build out the slide here, you'll kind of see what we mean. At Citrix, we empower our customers to provide secure and reliable access to apps and data anywhere, on any device, across any platform. And Citrix ShareFile specifically was really founded on the principle of enabling businesses and IT professionals to work the way they want. And since then, we've been growing at a rapid pace. ShareFile has surpassed 70,000 business customers, and we have more than 20 million users. 99% of the Fortune 500 are represented in the ShareFile user base, and we've been ranked as a leader in file sync and share by major industry analysts like Gartner. So we really focus on 4 key things that ShareFile provides. The first is secure and reliable cloud storage. We can actually host your documents in a secure platform. The second is customized account management and security for better organization and control. We recognize this is built for business. This isn't for personal use as much as it is to protect any sensitive or business confidential information. We provide simple and efficient workflows to allow your teams and clients to collaborate, and that's a lot of what we're going to be focusing on today, is how teams work together in ShareFile. And then last but not least, flexible and secure access from your nearest internet-enabled device. So whether you're at a desktop or you're in the field on a phone, you can get access to ShareFile. So we're going to dig into each of these and see how ShareFile is really built out as a team collaboration platform. So the first thing we wanted to do here is really ask you guys, how have you been using ShareFile? Michelle, if you can hit our poll there to get that launched up. We're interested in your engagement and really interested in how you've been using ShareFile. Is it internally with your team? Is it externally with your clients? Are you doing both? Or maybe are you the lone user of ShareFile? That's okay too.
Yep, Liz, we have answers coming in right now. Most people seem to be using both. Going to give it a couple more seconds for our entire audience. We have a lot of customers on today to vote. Yeah, it seems that about 60% are using it for both, which is excellent. About 25% are using it externally, 13% internally, and just a small 3% with neither. So thank you, everyone, for setting the table here so we can learn more about how you can use this function more internally and externally with your clients as well as your employees.
So that is the perfect tip off, Michelle. Thanks so much. What we really want to get at there is that there's not a one-size-fits-all or one single use for ShareFile. You can use it in so many different ways. That's why it's designed as a flexible platform. So for the 60% that said you're using it as both, that's awesome. There are two big use cases that we see with ShareFile. The one on the left here is really as team collaboration, meaning it's an internal tool that folks use just to share documents between or within the company. And you can see in that little red box that we've highlighted, it's just a little reminder that the personal folders and shared folders are designed exactly for that. You may have things that you store in ShareFile as an individual that no one else needs to see. Those are your personal folders, and that's fine. You may also have shared documents that are across teams or across individuals or even with clients, and that's why they have a designated place as well. We also did a full webinar on best practices for a client portal. And if you weren't able to join that, I encourage you to go to sharefile.com/support, and we have all of our recorded webinars there, and you can kind of dig in more to that use case. But it's really facing ShareFile externally as a secure hub for you and your clients to organize, save, and share large or sensitive documents. Again, this isn't an either or. We're thrilled to see that people use it for both. We're really going to be focusing on the team collaboration piece today. All right, so step one of this, remember we have 3 tips for team collaboration, are going to be getting started as an administrator. And one thing I want to talk about here, if you are brand new to ShareFile and you are just getting it set up, this is great timing for you. We're really going to get out ahead. But also, if you are already using ShareFile, this is designed to be very helpful for you as well. If you're rolling it out to a new team, maybe you're onboarding new employees, or you're just looking to refine your processes, this is designed for everyone. You don't have to be on day one. So stay tuned. We've got good stuff here. Let's go ahead to the next slide. This is kind of your administrator checklist. Again, because there are so many use cases for ShareFile, there's no one right or wrong way to get started with ShareFile. It's really custom to your business and your use case. But this is just one recommendation, and we will actually be sending you a detailed version of this checklist. It's in the handout section of the webinar right now, and it's got screenshots and links to some of our how-to articles if you'd like to see that. But it's a couple of kind of specific things that we recommend you do to get it set up for an internal environment, maybe before you start inviting your team into ShareFile. And step one is to really prepare an action plan for your team. And what we mean by that is letting your team know that you've purchased ShareFile, that it exists in your business. This could be an email, it could be detailed documentation, it could just be a quick reminder in a team meeting that you have coming up soon. But just give them a heads up of why you purchased it, what you're hoping to get out of it, and maybe any internal best practices or protocols that you'd like to establish in terms of what you keep in ShareFile. We recommend putting everything out there, but let your team know how do you intend them to use it. Step two is to start adding your users. Or if you've already gotten this set up, maybe adding a new team to your ShareFile account. And what we really want to point out here is that it's easiest to get your team into ShareFile first, but you don't actually have to send them welcome emails or email alerts until you're really ready. There's a step that Christina is going to demo all of this for us in just a moment, and she'll show you how you can bypass that and just go ahead and get their credentials in, get them set up with the right permissions, and then welcome them when you feel ready. Step three here is organizing your data and documents in one place. And this is really key to making sure that you're streamlining your processes in your business and really getting the full benefit of ShareFile. We are the single pane of glass, or the single platform that allows you to access all sorts of documents and information, and it's easiest if they're all in ShareFile. So option one is to migrate data into ShareFile. That's actually upload it maybe off of network drives, off of your personal computer, wherever your documents live today. Go ahead and put them in ShareFile. We've got a couple of different ways to do that. Whether you've got a little bit of data or if you've got a whole lot of data, we've got a migration tool that's best at moving really large sums of data. The other option that may be new to a number of you, though, is our connectors. If you don't want ShareFile to actually host everything, you can connect out to other network drives or cloud platforms like Google Drive, OneDrive, Box, and Dropbox, and connect them to ShareFile so that you can access documents through that pane of glass without having to migrate all of it. Step 4 here is to build your team folder structure. Christina, again, is going to show us a little bit of what this looks like, but especially as you get into larger businesses. If you have more than a couple of employees, and maybe you have information that's relevant to one team but not another, you can set up folder structures by team and then set certain permissions for them so that you only see the relevant information. I think that's really key in things like when HR is using ShareFile. Maybe you have your marketing team, your sales team, and HR. Nobody else needs to see the HR folders. That's really private and confidential to them. You can set that access just for the HR team and no one else will know it exists. And then last but not least, if you have a larger team like that, you can leverage these team folder structures with a tool we call distribution groups to communicate with certain groups. So you can let one team know something or another team know something without having to type all their emails individually or mass email everybody at one time. So I know this is easier to see than to hear, so we're now going to pop over and Christina's going to walk us through a couple of these items on the checklist.
Absolutely. So I am pulling up my ShareFile account for everybody to see, and I'll go ahead and get signed in. So the first step that Liz mentioned for you is getting your users into ShareFile. So that will happen from the People tab and your Manage Users homepage. So for this internal collaboration webinar, everyone you'll want to be adding would be an internal employee. So you would add them as an employee user. Just be aware that these take up those licenses that you're paying for, so you do have a set number of them. But adding an employee is very simple. You can either add them one at a time or add them in bulk by downloading this Excel spreadsheet and filling it out according to the instructions, and that will allow you to replicate this process except for the masses. I'll just show you here very quickly what it's like to add an employee user. All you need is their email, and in step 2, all you need is their first and last name. The password is set for you, and they'll be able to reset it themselves. You can choose to change up the permissions that you want to give them, but we already have it set to the standard default for you. In step 3, you can add your users to specific folders if you happen to already have the folder set up, but if you don't, you can absolutely skip this step and worry about sharing your folders at a later date. And that brings you to the very last step where you can send the welcome email now, or what we're recommending is do this step later. That way you can get all of your information and data into ShareFile. You can share the folders appropriately with your different teams and colleagues, and at that point in time, when you're ready, you can welcome all of your users. Remember, you want to be the leader of this, so make sure that you have your questions answered, you feel comfortable and confident in the account, and then go ahead and welcome everybody else so that they can lean on you or our other resources if they need some extra help. So just like that, I've added my user. So the next step is organize all of your data. And as Liz mentioned, you have a personal section to store all of your folders that no one else needs to see. So put things here whether they are personal or work-related in the sense that they're not collaborative documents. And then in the shared section, here's where you would want to put all of that company or client data that you guys work on. So if the information is currently on your server, you can upload all of it and put it into a shared drive folder or a server folder. And that way, people don't need to be in the office or chained to their computer to be able to access those important documents. They can get to it from home, they can get to it from a mobile device, and you're no longer bound to, the walls of your building to access that. Or maybe your hard drive is basically bursting full and you just need to get, a few of your big documents or big folders off of it to clear up some space. Put them up here in an employee shared documents folder, organize your department into teams, and that way you can just move all of your data up into our cloud. So how you can do that is based on where the data is now and where you want to keep it ultimately. So I'm going to take us over to the apps page in the upper right-hand corner and show you a couple of our tools that will speed this up. So scrolling on down, we'll see on the left an app called Drive Mapper. If you're on a Windows machine, you can use the Drive Mapper app, and it essentially installs as an S drive onto your computer, and it will create a mapped drive or a pathway for you to be able to upload files off of your computer and then up into ShareFile. As a side note, it will not delete them from the original location, so if the goal is to clear up some space after you upload them, you will want to go ahead and delete them from the original location. But basically, from any location you have, I'll just duplicate mine to show you. You can come into any of your documents, into Dropbox or Box, whatever you may be using, and you can drag and drop your folders into the correct location of ShareFile, and when you release, they will start uploading that folder and all of the files inside of it into your ShareFile account. Now this is good for batches of files or small folders. Anytime you have gigabytes and up, what I would recommend is a separate, more powerful tool. And that tool would be called the ShareFile Data Migration Tool. Now, if you click on the Help page and type ShareFile Data Migration Tool into this Knowledge Center, that is going to pull up this article for you. So it's not on the apps page, but just remember to search for it in the Knowledge Center, and we'll be providing that link for you as well. But it's going to pull up this article for you, and this tool is strong, simple, and powerful. It can handle up to terabytes of data, and you can read through the requirements and limitations of it, but essentially it is a one-step process. You're going to choose where all of that data lives currently on your machine or on your server, and then choose the destination where you want it to go. So when you're heading out from work and going home for the day, just pick that original folder and then the final destination ShareFile folder, click the green Transfer Files button, and all night while you're at home, it is just going to upload these hundreds of gigabytes or however much you have, and it will upload them all to ShareFile. So it is our very exciting and pretty recently released tool, but very powerful and could not be easier to use. So now that all of your data might be up in ShareFile, there is a second option to consider if you want to keep your data where it is. So if we have any Dropbox, Box users, Google Drive users, we do have the ability through our Connectors tab for you to access all of that data from within your ShareFile account via Connectors. And these are simple to set up as well. You'll click on Connectors and then click Create Connector, and tell us the type of connector you have. So you can see our options: Box, Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive, SharePoint, and you will put in the name of your account and connect. And then you would be able to access all of those files within those other programs and file storage types right here from your Connectors tab. So hopping back into the ShareFile folders, we mentioned, putting all of your server files on here, any of your other shared documents, and a popular folder structure that could be used in a very beneficial way is create a Teams folder or a Departments folder, and then break down all of your departments or teams by subfolders. That way, you can give yourself access to this root level Teams folder. which would automatically give you control of all of the subfolders of different teams. And then let's say I need to go ahead and add a new department. I'm ready to welcome the Human Resources team into the account. I will create their folder, and I can start uploading all of their files into it. And what you can do with this folder structure is only add the team to their specific folder. So that way they do not know all of the other files and data that you have going on in other departments. You specifically would click into their folder, like customer support, and then add those team members to that folder. So you might be thinking, well, I have 12 people in each department, or maybe 50 people in each department. Rather than you having to click their names one by one every time you want to share a new folder with them, a shortcut here will be to add them to a distribution group. And once you add all of your members to that group, you can add that entire group to a folder with one click. So within the People tab, at this second to bottom, Distribution Groups, you can see I've got a few of my teams built already, my finance, my marketing, my suppliers. I can come in here, click New Group, I'll give it a name, I'll call it my HR group, and add the users. So you can type for them one by one, or from the address book, you can just come in here and select as many as you need. So I will add these users to HR, click Save, and now when I'm ready to come back and share that HR folder with them, I don't need to search for each one of those names individually. I'll click Add People to Folder, and in the search bar, I will search for HR. Let me try it from over here. There we go. And add. And it will add those 3 or however many users at once. And you can apply permissions in bulk. So I can give all of HR upload alerts. I can give all of HR the ability to delete if I wanted, or again, even take away some privileges. Maybe they only need to be download privileges, or maybe only upload. And so this way, every time I need to come in and distribute a new set of data, I'll just add that distribution group. All right, hopefully that helped clear up a little bit of how to add the users and migrate your data over. But I'm going to pass it back over to Liz at this point to pick back up.
Great, thanks, Christina. It's about this point in the webinar where it's a great time to bring up training options. As a reminder to anyone that still has the question, the checklist that we were just referencing is available in the handout section of today's webinar. Just go to the GoToWebinar console, click on handouts, and you can download them directly there. And that links out to a lot of the help and how-to guides that Christina just referenced. But if you're the kind of person that likes a little bit more help than that, we have lots of training options where we can go into your live account and help you out with some of the stuff that we just discussed. 2 really common options. The first is what we call our Smart Start program. It is a live training program where you'll get a dedicated customer success manager like Christina, could even be Christina, and for 30 days they'll work through and build a personalized training program on your schedule to really help design the right folder structure and distribution groups and permissions for your team, whatever it is you need. If you're a little bit more of a self-exploration type of person, the on-demand trainings are also a great free resource to you anytime. We have lots of recorded webinar trainings that vary from 20 minutes to 45 minutes, anywhere from getting started, advanced features, and then industry best practices, maybe what specific clients in healthcare or construction or accounting love to do. Of course, don't forget we have 24/7 access to our technical support, so anywhere along the way here, there's lots more help that you can get access to. You don't have to use any of these. If you kind of are on the learn as you go, that works too. Just want you to know it's accessible. Okay, so you're an administrator, you've got your account prepped and ready, you're feeling confident, your data's in one place, you've got everything set up with the right distribution groups. Now you're ready to roll it out to your team. And these are just a couple of best practices that we'd recommend when you're ready to invite your team. And that step that Christina was talking about relative to inviting your employees. Step one is to go back to that. Don't forget, we want you to be confident and ready to use the account, but also don't want to put it off forever. When you get to a point where you feel like permissions are right and we've got maybe enough files to get started, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's enough that you feel confident that the team is ready for ShareFile, go ahead and go back to resending those welcome emails, and you can do that to the team maybe around the same time that you would distribute that action plan. That is all you have to do to invite your team, but we have two other options here if you would like to distribute them. The second is to share the Getting Started guide with your team, and that is also in today's handout section in the webinar console. You can go download that now. And the Getting Started guide is really generic and it's really basic. If you especially have employees that are maybe less technically savvy, it covers basics like how to log in, how to upload a file, how to download a file, how to share a file. And that's just a great resource that's ready to go. They can print out, leave on their desks, or reference at any time. And of course, if you would like to train maybe together, maybe it's all collaboration in your office, those on-demand training resources are available to everyone. Maybe you do a lunch and learn and you all watch them together over a brown bag lunch, or just feel free to distribute them to employees that maybe want the extra help. All right, so you've got your team in, the account set up, your team is there. Tip number 3 in team collaboration here, especially for those of you that are already pretty well rolled out on ShareFile. I think this is going to be the section you enjoy the most. These are our top collaboration features that we feel like your team will love, and they're great things to point out, earn you some street cred with the office, and really help make sure you're working together on documents and not working in silos. So I'm going to show you 4 things within this category. I'll tell you a little bit about them, and then Christina's going to demo them live, so you will get to see it. And number 1 is a tool that we call Check-in and Check-out. This is great if you don't use co-editing software. You tend to edit documents on your own personal computer. That's fine. When you're within the web app, which is what Christina was just demoing a few moments ago, you can find a document, right-click it, and check it out. And think of that just like checking out a book at the library. It's just kind of giving the rest of your team a little memo that says, hey, I'm working on this. Don't do anything or distribute this until I've made my edits. Go ahead and work on that, and then you can check the file back in and re-upload the new version without your team maybe distributing a version that wasn't ready for the public. So Christina, let's see what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to show it to you live here, let's say that I'm ready to go ahead and check out this file. I will right-click it, and right here, click Check Out. And that's going to let you know in this little warning message that it will remain checked out for 24 hours. And if someone else tries to download it, they're going to get a little pop-up message like this one, except theirs will say, another user has this file checked out. It will let them still download it in case they just truly need to view it. But that way, hopefully they'll know not to make any edits until they see it's been checked back in. The little symbol that will let you know a file is checked out is this orange arrow. So if you see this, you'll know someone is currently taking out the file to make some edits on it over the course of the day. If you forget to check it back in, no worries, the system will auto check it back in for you. Or if you do remember when you're ready, you will click Check In, and it will prompt you to upload the new version. So this does assume that you're actually editing the file. If you just need to look at it, then don't worry about checking it out because it will want you to update and upload that new version when you're done. All right, Liz, coming back to you.
Great. The next little trick for file collaboration that we're going to show is really similar in concept. Again, it's just a great way to find a file that's already in ShareFile and be able to edit it by right-clicking really quickly. The difference here is that it's within the desktop app for Windows, and it's called Open and Edit. And truly, this is easier to see than to explain. So Christina, I'm going to pass it back to you.
Sure thing. So I'm going to open up my desktop app here, and it just popped up. So in the desktop app, you have that special option to right-click to open and edit. So I'll click into my folder here, and with this item, I can do right-click, open and edit. And again, this is different than the checkout feature in that it's more for a quick change. If you know you just need to add a few numbers to an Excel document, or you have a new bullet to add to some sort of Word document, go ahead and just do a quick open and edit, because this is going to open up the file for you. And I can pull it over here for you. So I can open it, come into here, make my changes, make my edits, and when I'm done, simply clicking this little save icon is going to re-upload it for you. Whereas in check-in, check-out, it assumes you're taking time making those edits, and then it wants you to actually manually re-upload it. By clicking that save button, I can just X out of the file now, and you'll notice it has a blue little sheet of paper. That's because when I clicked save, it already uploaded the new version for me. So now if I click on those two little blue paper sheets, it's going to show me that the older version from 11 a.m. is still saved there, and by clicking save, it uploaded the new version back to there for me. So it will keep both. And again, this is just ideal because you don't have to remember to re-upload, and it will still send out upload notifications. So even though you're not doing that step of the process, ShareFile will continue to finish off that workflow if you do have upload alerts set. So a very handy tool to work on Microsoft files. All right, Liz, passing back to you for the next tip.
Great. And we are staying in that vein of Microsoft files on the next version here, or the next feature here. One of the great comparisons in all of these things that we're showing is really what type of other software you have in your business. So for the first two that we looked at, those are really great if you have hard copies of Microsoft Office on your computer, like you have Word and PowerPoint and Excel downloaded in maybe a one-time distribution, and it lives on your personal computer. That's perfect for those first two, check-in and check-out and desktop open and edit. This third one is great and perfect if you have Office 365, which is the Microsoft Office Online co-editing tool. This is what we use internally at Citrix, and it's a great tool for actual co-editing. I will point out here that to use this tool, you need to have an Office 365 license. So you have an agreement with them. It's pretty cheap. And then it'll ask you for that login once at the beginning. And then moving forward, you can organize, store, and secure your Office 365 files within ShareFile, but still leverage the co-editing feature of Office 365 all within ShareFile. So you can have lots of people editing the same document in a live environment at the same time while still automatically saving it back to ShareFile. So Christina's going to show us how to edit with Office 365.
All right, here we go. So coming back into my shared folders, I'm ready to co-edit with some of my colleagues. I will find that file I want to work on, and you do a right-click, and then there is Edit Document. Now, the setup for this is very simple. The first time you want to actually activate the Office 365 subscription, you'll just do what I'm doing now. Right-click, click Edit Document, and it will prompt you to enter your 365 username and password. Once you type in those two pieces of information, you're ready to start using. So I will click Edit. It will open up a new tab to do the live editing and co-editing feature. And now, just like before, I can come in here, make any changes that I need to make. I agree with this feature. And it'll say it's saving. And now that it says saved, I can go ahead and close it. And when I refresh the page, this file will be updated with that new edit on there. So the activation is as simple as right-clicking and getting started, and then you'll be able to begin editing immediately. So all three of these editing features we've showed you are very simple to start using and friendly on all user ends. All right, Liz, coming back to you again.
Great, thanks so much. I think one of the really cool things about that, I don't know if anybody noticed it while Christina was demoing it, but when she opened up the co-editing feature, note that her domain never changed. It was still christinaritter.sharefile.com. So you're staying within the ShareFile walls, within our security system. You're just leveraging the co-editing, and that is such a great way to rapid fire collaborate on things. You know, the document that she was showing is actually a real blog post that we have written together and is on the ShareFile blog today. You can go read it. And we work together on all of those things, and it allows multiple people on our team to contribute information to that blog without having to check in and out or worry about who's working on it at what point. All right, so this brings us to the fourth and final collaboration tip that we love. And this is available to everybody regardless of what software you have, and it's called feedback and approvals. This is a fairly new feature. We added it around November of last year, and this is a great tool to collect feedback both internally and externally. I'm going to break the rules on our team collaboration topic and say if you have external clients and you're using this as a client portal, this is also great. This will allow you to collect feedback on a document without them actually making changes to the document, and also send it through formal approvals. So for example, one use case where I'm using this today in the business is we're onboarding a new agency to help us do some work, and we're discussing the contract. This allows me to upload the contract into feedback and approvals, and our procurement teams, our finance teams, and my manager can all review that together and say, thumbs up, I approve it, and I've got that documented, or hey, I'd like to suggest some changes. So Christina's going to show us what that looks like.
All right, so back in my ShareFile account, and this tab, Workflows here, you probably noticed it pop up in recent history. Again, it's that free feature for all of us. So I will click on Feedback and Approval, and in this tab that is loading, I will click Start a New Workflow in the upper right. The ones we're focusing on today are to get approval and collect feedback. The difference being, collect feedback simply is asking for people to leave their comments, opinions, and annotations on your document, whereas get approval allows them to leave those same comments and annotations, but ultimately, whoever you send the document out to would have the ability to click a button that says approve, which means they like the document as is. They can click request changes and prompt you to upload a new version, or they can just fully reject the file you sent them. For today, I'll show you how to collect feedback. So once you choose the type of workflow, you upload the file that you want to gather feedback on. So I will use the blog post we've been featuring. Step 3, pick a due date of when you want everyone to have contributed their feedback by, or approved or rejected your document. Next step, add the participants. So I will add one of my colleagues here, add as many participants as you need, require a login if you'd like, CC people on there, and customize the message. And when you start the workflow, that will trigger an email to any of the participants you've added. And that email will have a link that would open up this workflow feature. At that point, whoever is inside of this workflow can click on the document, and once they click on that little comment box, they can start leaving their opinion. Clicking save, and these are all live comments. So if Ashley were logged on right now, she would see my comment and be able to immediately reply. That way you can scroll through a file, gather everyone's opinions and feedback. And to show you a more finished version, Ashley came through, left her annotations. I was able to reply or click agree to something that she said. And ultimately, 4 people, 10 people can all be in here at once, just sharing their opinions in real time. And if this were approvals, there would be a green button down here for Ashley to click approve or reject. All right, Liz, go ahead and wrap us up.
Great. So you've seen a lot of information today, and mostly we just wanted to remind you, we don't expect you to remember all of it off the top of your head. So stay tuned for 2 documents that you can download now. They're in the handout section. One was that administrator checklist, and that's built out a little bit more with some screenshots and some links to some how-to articles. The second is the Getting Started guide. That's the really basic document. It's really how to log in, how to upload, how to share a file. And that's great to share with your team. And then last but not least, just some links to some of the articles that we mentioned today, like if you wanted to reference a lot of data migration, if you wanted to link out to another cloud tool like OneDrive, if you wanted to set up the Office 365 connector, and of course, last but not least, if you want more help, don't worry, we have live and on-demand training sessions, and we'll give you that information. That's it. Back to you, Michelle.
Great. Thank you so much, Christina and Liz. We do have about 5 minutes left, so please type those questions in. If you don't hear me say them live to Christina or Liz, Ashley and Ann are in the background answering questions as fast as they can, but we'll get to them no matter what. Even if we close the webinar, we will make sure we get to your question via email. So, Christina, could you kind of just level set on security before we get to some of these specific questions? We did have some customers say that security is a concern for some of their internal coworkers as well as their clients. Also, you know, when you're doing these collaboration features, if you are in an industry that compliance is very important, you know, is that okay? So can you kind of just give a 30-second, you know, overview of our security features and how ShareFile is so secure?
Sure. So within our web app and all of the apps that are associated with it, you can rest assured that all of our files, whether they're in transit or just in storage, have 256-bit encryption. And that level of security is really just the most you can get out there. It's what banks use. It's what Amazon uses for their products and their websites. So whenever you are in any of these editing features, storing your files in our ShareFile portal as opposed to your server or any sort of on-site security measure you have, all of our data is not only backed up first in our servers that are secured with that 256-bit encryption, but we have backup servers as well in case there were disaster recovery or you know, any sort of unforeseen issue. But we have not had, you know, issues with our servers or our level of encryption being an issue, even for industries like accounting where you have social security numbers. If you are in the financial world and you need to adhere to FINRA, if you are worried about HIPAA compliance, we have an ability to migrate you to a HIPAA server. So in terms of security, you are in the best hands with our level of encryption.
Great, thank you. And can you just confirm if we do have multi-factor authentication?
We do have 2-step authentication, and that would be in the admin settings tab. So if you are the main admin, you would be able to click on settings and then admin settings, and you'll see that there is a 2-step verification, which would require someone get a mobile text. That would be that extra layer of security upon login.
Great. Thank you so much. I just wanted to give everyone that information so we can get to these other questions. So real quick, how do you see how many licenses you have available? We had this question come in several times. Some users on here might not be the main admin and they're not sure how many licenses there are.
Okay. So if you are not the main admin, that is something you'd want to communicate about with the main admin as they are the one who has that privilege to see it. Essentially what the main admin would need to do is click Browse Employees, and it will tell you up top how many you have and how many are used. So you can see I've used 4 out of my 5 licenses.
Awesome. And with the edit features that you went over, those were all for Office 365. So Liz, can you address, do we have anything coming up in the horizon for collaborating if people are using Google?
This is my favorite question these days because it's a fun one to answer. The answer is today no, but stay tuned for a great announcement coming this summer around our partnership with Google. I can't give a whole lot more details than that, but mostly stay tuned, hang in there with us, and we have an exciting announcement on its way.
Great. Thanks so much, Liz. So we do have no time left. We have hit the 2:45 mark, and I do appreciate everyone for sticking with us and asking all those questions. Please remember right now to go to that handout section. Get those handouts. I also sent you a ShareFile link with our presentation today, so you can have those additional links that Liz referenced as well. So I do hope that everyone was able to learn more about our collaboration tools through the presentations and demonstrations today. You will be receiving an email with the recording in case you'd like to go back, view it again, slow it down, or share it with your colleagues. Again, get those handouts downloaded right now and get the presentation downloaded. We also do have 4 webinars coming up in May, really exciting. 4 all new webinars, actually, no repeats in May. So check back to the ShareFile support website, and you should have received an email with all of those webinars in your inbox actually today as well. So thank you so much, Liz and Christina, for your wonderful presentation and demonstration of our tools today. And thank you all for your participation. Until next time, have a wonderful day.